I woke up in beast mode with my girl.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Raw Cave Show. I'm Deane, and we have special guest on the call today, Bella Laquatra. Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks, Zach. Thank you so much for having me and featuring me on Raw Cave. I'm really excited. I love the vibe of your channel. I love everything that you're doing, and I always am willing and excited to collaborate with other people who are doing the work. So it's great to be here.
Yeah, thank you so much for being here. Thanks for your time. For those who don't know, the last couple of weeks we've been trying to get this interview happening. I was lucky enough to meet you, Bella, in Melbourne at a hotel, the Pullman Hotel, and there was a personal development happening. You were there with your friend Sasha, and as I was talking to you guys, and specifically you were just, you guys were working on a documentary. You were talking about, you're a wellness expert. You have a passion for helping Generation Y and helping conscious leadership. And I was like, oh my gosh, you sounded like a young Gary Vaynerchuk in a weird way, if that made any sense. I don't know. You just had this like amazing passion and fire. And I was like, what? I need to interview you. You're awesome. So, yeah, of course. No worries. So everybody watching, this is going to be really exciting. Anybody who's wanting to know about, I guess, conscious leadership, you follow and you talk about leadership, heart-led leadership as well. So that's something that I'm really passionate about. And I believe a lot of people are looking for, their passion or like what lights them up. And I feel a lot of people are really stuck. So I feel that, maybe you could shed some light on this for a lot of people. So this is going to be a lot of value for you guys watching or listening today. Before we get into it, if you could just share a bit about your journey, Bella, and how you have come to be doing what you do today.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm a big believer that you can only really understand wellness if you've known sickness. For me, when I was young, I had a lot of health issues, particularly mental health issues. As a teenager, I suffered from severe depression, eating disorders, body dysmorphia, just a lot of the dis-eases that, plague so many individuals. I had crippling anxiety. My senior year of high school, I actually missed almost 100 days of school. So if you can imagine the severity of literally having bedridden depression and anxiety, it was very much a struggle. And it was at times a struggle for my life. I thank God. I call God Big G, because, source, the divine, the universe, whatever your interpretation is of your God source, I thank Big G every single day that I'm alive and I made it through to the other side. And what happened for me is I was put through the mental health ringer of pharmaceuticals, took the Western medicine approach to getting better, and didn't really have very many results with that. It actually, in my particular situation, it made it worse. So I found myself at age 19 in recovery rooms for Alcoholics and Narcotics Anonymous, going into inpatient treatment for my eating disorder, really just at the bottom of the bottom. And I was only 19 years old. I was barely even an adult. And I realized that something had to change if I was going to stay alive. And so I really started to look into holistic health. I met a psychologist who to this day is a dear, dear friend of mine. He's almost like a grandpa to me. His name's Dr. Frank. Dr. Frank will never see this because he doesn't use the computer, but if he did, I know that he'd be super proud and smiling ear to ear right now. But Dr. Frank really helped me through supplementation and nutrition. So he did all body and EMDR therapies. Everything was through acupressure points. And I found that a combination of using supplementation, body therapy, and really just working on my mindset really took me out of darkness and brought me into a place where I wanted to thrive. So of course, soon after I realized that I had gotten better, I wanted to start helping others. So for me, that looked like becoming a certified yoga instructor. I went on to become advanced in the particular style of yoga that I taught. I became a massage therapist and body worker, in college, I studied world religion and philosophy. So really, I became a holistic nutrition specialist. So basically everything and all of the medicine I used to make me well, I then took that and wanted to learn about it so I could pay it forward and help others get to that same place of health and wellness again. I spent 7 or 8 years practicing every day, working with clients, either with massage therapy or Reiki or nutrition or doing a little bit of personal development. And soon after that, I realized that while I was really excited about working with people and I was always amazed by the progress my clients were making, it became very apparent to me that I wanted to impact the world in a major way. And unfortunately, when you're exchanging your energy and your physical time for money, you can only go so far. So I realized I had to scale and I had to change something in order to really be able to create the impact that I wanted to create. So after that, I applied my business background and all of my, I guess, business sense, if you will. And what I started to do is instead of working with clients, I started working with the people who were working with clients. And for me, that's what made a huge difference in how I got very involved into conscious leadership and actually working hand in hand with the individuals who are creating these programs and then going out there and doing the work.
Beautiful. Nice. Very cool. I didn't know that about your story, so thank you so much for sharing. I think such a common issue today. There's, addiction and mental health challenges in my family as well. So I've lived through that. And I guess with your experience on health and mindset and where you are today, what's your philosophy around health and wellness?
So I'm a big believer that you have to tackle health and wellness from the bottom up. What I mean by that is I very much subscribe to Eastern medicine and the chakra system. I'm really passionate about chakra work. For those of you who don't know chakras, those are basically energetic systems within your body. They're measurable. There's devices that actually can measure these energetic fields within your body. It's not hippy-dippy woo-woo. It's not crazy. It's just the way your body is energetically aligned, because we all are, at the end of the day, energetic beings. And a lot of my work is working from the root chakra up. So the root chakra is the base. And for me, the base is really your foundation of your body. Your body is your home, and learning how to take care of your body via movement, nourishment, proper supplementation, proper nutrition, that's the fundamental element. Everything else can come after you have your body in homeostasis. So people look at health and wellness and, I'll hear buzz even at that event at the Pullman. A lot of people were talking in the lobby and I was eavesdropping on a lot of conversations, and a lot of the conversations were, all these health and wellness experts, all of a sudden they talk spiritual and personal development and mindset. And it's really true, because it actually has to start with your physical health. Your physical health is key. So for anybody who is sick, anybody who is experiencing disease, discomfort, if you go back to homeostasis in your body, if you go back to the root chakra, which is the first chakra, and really balance yourself, then once you have that foundation laid, then you can open the doors to expanding and getting better in other parts of your life. Other parts meaning your relationships, your mindset, your belief systems, your process of expansion and growing, and the growth that you're able to actually achieve for yourself, and the dreams that you're able to idealize for yourself. But it all starts with proper nutrition. So that for me is, anytime somebody comes to me and they tell me, I want to, better my mindset, or I want to do XYZ with myself or with my business, first and foremost, no matter what it is, I always say, let's go back to your basic health. Are you in balance? What's your supplementation looking like? Is your body in homeostasis? Is your body physically strong and capable? Because once you have that, and once you have that cleared out and really at a place that's strong, then you can start working on the other things. You can work your way up. So then you can start working on your mindset. Then you can start working on your belief systems. And then, if you really want to get up in the woo-woo and the esoteric, then you can start expanding spiritually and growing spiritually or religiously, or however you choose to personally expand.
I totally agree. So thank you so much for saying that. Such an important lesson. I feel that a lot of business people who are so driven, so go, 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 they forget about themselves sometimes. And that's where everything that's where it starts. So, I guess, you're very busy, you're traveling, you're working, you just said you're in like 3 or 4 different locations in the past 2 weeks. How do you stay grounded? How do you stay present? And how do you stay so focused on your work?
That's an interesting question. I think it's a 2-part question. So number 1, just taking care of my body. It's very rare that you'll find me with shoes on. The reason why, I'm basically a bougie hippie. That's just the reality of the situation. I really love to be barefoot, connected to the earth, connected to the water, doing things that are just really grounding and can really set me into homeostasis. I don't own a TV. I haven't owned a TV since I was 17 years old. Really being able to disconnect, and I have my laptop, of course I have my cell phone, I have my social media accounts, but if I'm not doing work, I'm not on those devices. I think for me that is a huge part of keeping my sanity. Similarly, I'm just very comfortable, and what I stress to all of my clients and anybody I work with is becoming very comfortable with just sitting with yourself. To understand yourself is to really be able to develop the knowing and the discipline and learning how you work and how you function. And that segues right into heart-led leadership and what it means to be a heart-led conscious leader. I think in this business world today, and the problem I see with many entrepreneurs and many millennial entrepreneurs is that their focus is on themselves and not on the work. And what I mean by that is that you really, at the end of the day, have to go in and evaluate what is inspiring you, because motivation will only take you so far. A lot of people want to be entrepreneurs, but they're motivated to make money. And at the end of the day, just being motivated to make money isn't going to withstand the longevity of all the obstacles you're going to face in your path of growth and development for it to be worth it. At the end of the day, money is just not going to be worth it. I know entrepreneurs who are so business savvy and they are amazing and brilliant at what they do, but they're motivated by money. They're only motivated by making the money. It's all self-serving and it's all self-interest. And what I see happen more often than not is I watch those same entrepreneurs fall on their face again and again, and I watch things fall apart simply because they cannot withstand the hardships that come along the path, because they're only motivated by money and they haven't done the internal work to really figure out what makes them tick and where their passion is and where their purpose is. And because they're not in alignment with their true passion and purpose, they really can't get very far. So if you can take yourself back and really spend a lot of time with yourself and really figure out what makes you tick, what lights your heart on fire, what lights you up from inside, what makes you function. For me, it's really simple. I'm inspired by love. I know 100% that the reason why I do everything that I do is because I just truly love people and I love to help people. That was the reason why I got into this field in the first place 10 years ago. And today, on those really hard days, on the days where it feels like everything's working against me, to either get to the next step, or if I'm working with a client, their personal obstacles are getting in the way, love is the one thing that keeps me going, because I'm so passionate about the work. It's about the work for me. It's about the work of serving other people, helping other people, and allowing other people to see the light within themselves. So as long as I keep myself focused on the work, I'm always going to be okay, because I'm always inspired by love. The money, the success, the ability to travel and fly literally around the world and go to 5 cities in 2 weeks, that's just a byproduct of me doing the work. And because my focus and my heart and my attention is always on the work, I never lose sight of that long-term goal. And that inspires me constantly, so that when I have those hard days, I can keep going. So if I have one advice, and what I get very clear about when I work with clients, is get yourself into alignment. Figure out why you're doing what you're doing. Figure out why you're working in what you're working in. Sometimes people will come to me with an idea and I'm like, dude, why are you doing this? And they're like, I have no idea. I want to make money. I want to take selfies on Instagram and make money doing it. Well, that's great that you want to take selfies, and that's great that you have, you know, a beautiful face and an amazing body to take selfies. But at the end of the day, how long is that going to last? When the going gets tough, is your selfies and your likes, is that what's going to keep you going? Is the quote unquote Insta fame, or, you know, the notoriety of what you're doing, is that why you want to be an entrepreneur? Or is it about the work? Because if it's about the work, you'll be able to keep going. If it's about yourself, you won't. You just won't. So if I say one thing about being heart-led, it's about figuring out what lights you up from inside and getting super focused on that work. If you're focused on that work, you will succeed.
Very refreshing to hear. That was great. It's following your passion, following the alignment is, you know, obviously getting into alignments. I've heard from people, and what helps me is like following what most inspires me or what brings me the most level of excitement. That definitely keeps me on track. But what happens when, like, you know, today there's a lot of competition, there's a lot of stuff out there that kind of may knock people off their horse and get in people's way of success. Do you have any tips for, I guess, the struggle? Because a lot of entrepreneurship is kind of lonely at times, and, you know, you kind of feel segregated from your friends, or I have noticed at times that I've felt quite separate. So what kind of tips do you have for entrepreneurs who are moving towards their business and taking action, but are feeling kind of stuck or lonely and really, like they're getting in their own way type of thing?
I personally see my work as a sacrifice. And I want to be very careful with my language, because when I say sacrifice, I don't mean suffering, because I in no way suffer. I live a beautiful life. I'm super blessed that I have a beautiful life, and I create what I want to create for myself. So I really truly live a life that I've designed as the architect. But I do consider what I do to be a sacrifice, in the sense that if you are truly going to be an entrepreneur, you have to be so consumed and so filled with love and so passionate about what you do that it is every part of your life. It needs to be a part of your daily conversations. It needs to be a part of, you know, even like your breath. Like for me, it's so easy because at the end of the day, I see my work as love. So everything I do in my life revolves around love, and I'm super passionate about that. And for me, truthfully, it is lonely, because you'll find when you're a true entrepreneur, you really don't have a lot of time or energy or room to have a lot of excess in your life. And that means friends, social engagements, extracurricular, what have you. A lot of the times you become so focused on what you do that the only other people who come into your space and the only other things that come into your space are things that are aligned with your work. And that's when you're really flowing, when you understand that all of your relationships, be it a romantic relationship or a friendship or even just casual acquaintances, when all of those things start to blend into one, so that the work and your play and your living are all cohesive and one and the same, that's when you know you're truly living, walking, breathing, doing the work. Because it is lonely and it is a sacrifice. But just because it's a sacrifice doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad thing. You're just being of service of whatever it is you're passionate about. So for me, passionate about helping people, every single day, I'm always working. You know, it's like the double-edged sword of the entrepreneur. Like, I have all the time in the world and I have no time at the same time. I can travel anywhere I want, but I actually never have a day off. You have to be so fully consumed and passionate about what you do that every waking moment of every waking day, and sometimes every sleeping moment, is just all consumed about what you're doing and who you're doing it for and why you're doing it and what it means to you. And if you can become very comfortable of sitting in that space and truly loving your work and truly sitting in a space of alignment where you're super passionate about it, you don't feel as lonely because everything else just feels like excess and it just kind of falls away. The clearer you get about where you're going and what you're doing and why you're doing, the less that other stuff matters. I spent, I tell this story when I'm working with clients because a lot of the times when people are going through that first real transition of being a hobbyist, or, maybe they were employed working a 9-to-5 or some other structured job where they were employed. And now they're, living the entrepreneur life. And a lot of the times that transition is a struggle because all of a sudden you're your own boss. You have all the time in the world. You have all the flexibility in the world. You have nobody setting your schedule for you. And the biggest struggle I see people face is that they struggle with the work-life balance. And the question is, Bella, how do I still have my work-life balance? And that's always when you have to have that come to Jesus moment. And you're like, well, let's have a little conversation. There is no work-life balance. Sorry to break it to you, but that's just not how it's going to go anymore. And a lot of the times people struggle with that. And I tell the story about when I first really left my, I had been working as an independent contractor. I was still working with clients. When I made that first big leap and started working as an entrepreneur, I spent 2 years almost completely by myself. And when I say completely by myself, I mean, I did not go out on one single date. I didn't talk to anybody, even friends who would ask me to go out for drinks, dinner, conversations, what have you. I turned them down. And I really spent 2 full years just getting very, very crystal clear about my purpose, very, very crystal clear about my passion, very, very crystal clear about how I work and how I function. And I got to know myself very, very well. It was the most painful 2 years of my life. I went to bed crying almost every single night. But in the end, what I was able to learn from it and the amount of growth I was able to achieve in my personal life, in my work life, is immeasurable, because everything I learned within those 2 years has really helped expedite my process and really helped get me to the next level again and again and again. And because I'm so focused and crystal clear on who I am and what I'm here to do, it makes everything else that much easier. Now, I'm not telling everybody that they, need to basically become a nun and not socialize and not go on dates for 2 years. That was what it looked like for me. But I think the clearer and more comfortable you can become being alone, the easier it is on you.
Yeah. Wow. And then so today, what does a day in the life of Bella look like? Waking up till you go to bed, what's the hustle look like for you at the moment?
Right now I'm working on a very special project with my friend who's also one of my clients, and she openly talks about working with me, so I'm comfortable sharing that. She's working on a project that's really dear to her heart. I've been working with her one-on-one for many years now. And so I've been on what I call a run. I was on a run when I met you in Melbourne. I was in Australia for 2 weeks, and then I was telling Zach before we hopped on the call that I had actually gone from Bondi Beach to Melbourne, back to Bondi, back to Los Angeles, back to Orange County where I live, over to Scottsdale, up to Sedona, back to Scottsdale, back to Orange County. I've been all over the map. So, that my ebb and flow of my life has been a little insane lately. I've been more on a all-nighter sprint the last few months. But then again, it's that natural wave. So a normal work day, I wake up normally around 5 a.m. I'm really early to wake up. I get my coffee, I go for a walk on the beach, get my feet into the sand and into the water, drink my shake, just to have my morning ritual. I think rituals are very important to develop because they give you a sense of normalcy, especially when the going gets crazy, when you're doing a sprint or when you're working on a project that demands a lot of time. So I have my morning ritual. I start my work day. A lot of the time my work day ends up being a work night. A lot of nights lately it's been, 1, 2 in the morning before I'm going to bed. but I wouldn't trade it for the world because I'm super passionate, and that curiosity and sense of adventure and sense of like every day we have so much to tackle. That's really what keeps me going. And that part about being an entrepreneur is really exciting to me. And I think it should excite everybody that if you do want to pursue this, you do have the freedom to literally go anywhere in the world that you wish to go. You have the opportunity to do anything that you wish to do, to meet and see anything that you wish or you desire. You just have to create and really be the architect for yourself and design that life for yourself.
Yeah, definitely. And yeah, that's a busy last couple of weeks. That's so cool. And coming up to Christmas, you know, I guess if you got family time, you balance, you see family and friends and things like that, or is it still just like go throughout Christmas time? Because I find some of my friends are like, even to me, they're like, come on, come out, let's do this, let's do that. And I'm like, and even going out sometimes I'm like, okay, I will go out because I choose to balance and go out and enjoy social time. But then I still have this like niggling in the back of my head. I'm like, I could be working right now. Like I should be hustling. Do you have that sometimes when you do balance with family and friends and things like that? Do you kind of feel like that internal voice is like, I could be working right now?
There was a point where I definitely went through that, and I felt some tension and push-pull as far as should I be going out or should I hang out with my friends and quote unquote blow off steam, or, you know, just go socialize, shoot the shit, play some pool at the bar, you know, whatever. For me, I saw a meme the other day and it cracked me up because the quote was, "I'm not here to make friends." And then the quote, like underneath the quote, it said me on being born. And I saw that quote and it made me laugh so hard because truthfully, you have to figure out what you came to this planet to do. And like for me, I didn't really come here to make friends. I mean, I'm blessed with beautiful people and beautiful souls who come into my life and who work alongside me and work in tandem with me and who are passionate about the same things that I'm passionate about. But at the end of the day, my purpose in life is not to have a ton of friends. My purpose is to do the work. So I think as I've gotten clearer about that, as I've gotten older, everybody else who doesn't really fit into my picture kind of fades out. And it doesn't mean that I don't love those people any less, because there are people who I love so dearly. It's just that what they're doing over there isn't in line and isn't in harmony with the lane I'm in. So I love them. If I see them, I'll gladly say hi to them. But what I'm finding more and more as I grow as an entrepreneur, as I continue to be a student and in my learning process, is that my work and my life and my friendships all just blend into one. So what I find is that if I'm with friends, I'm working. Because it all just becomes one big collaboration. And that's when it gets really fun, because then it's like this work-play dichotomy all the time where you're just creating and you're in this super creative organic space. In Bhakti yoga, they call it the bhav. So like you're just in this really juicy space of creating and flowing and collaborating and, you know, getting intuitions or downloads, and, you know, somebody has this puzzle piece over here, an idea over here, and you're over here and they're your friend, and all of a sudden, you know, you talk and you realize you have a collaboration and you start creating together, and it's just this really beautiful birthing energy of just creation, and that's when it gets super fun. So yes, there definitely is that struggle of like, should I go out or should I be with my friends or should I work? But like, if the more clearer you get, the more everything just falls into alignment.
And so as we all are, we're always learning and growing. Who are some of your mentors right now? Who are maybe some books or audio books that you could share with the other people to help to share with us, you know, on our journey to entrepreneurship?
Yeah. So I'm actually I'm a strange bird in a lot of ways, but one way I'm particularly strange is I've always been a believer in practicing something called intentional ignorance, in the sense that people ask me all the time, what personal development books should I read? Or which authors should I really look at if I want to understand spirituality? You know, personally, I lean towards Christianity, and a lot of the times people will, even though I'm very, very tolerant and loving and caring towards all belief systems, because I'm also all about the metaphysical and the energetics. So a lot of times people will be like, can you tell me a really good Christian author that I can read? And truthfully, I honestly have never read a personal development book in my life. I've done it intentionally. Unless it's like a textbook, or unless it's a workbook, unless it's a nutrition manual, or unless it's a science book or anatomy book or a physiology book. Of course, it's important to be educated. Education is very important. If you're learning a new skill set, by all means, learn the systems, learn the tools, whatever. But when it comes to personal development and philosophy and consciousness and more of like the woo and inner knowing and inner seeing, I've never actually read a book on it, because I believe in tapping into your own intuition. Because you have your truth. And the clearer you get, the healthier you get in your body, the healthier you get in your mind, the more you can actually tap into that intuition and intuitive knowing. And being a heart-led conscious leader, like, your heart knows. That's what heart-led means. Your heart knows the truth. Your heart always knows the truth. So for me, a lot of my own growth and development has been about tuning in to what I intuitively know to be true by following my heart, not my head. My favorite quote ever that has ever come to me was, it's called the sacred heart, not the sacred head. If I'm using my rational mind and my logical mind, and if I'm really sitting in a space of just trying to think my way through everything, sometimes that's very effective, but a lot of the times that analytical mind is just going to spin me in circles, especially when it comes to making gut decisions or following my heart. And a lot of the times the miracles or the expansion happens when you follow your heart. So the more you can come to understand yourself, and the more in tune with yourself that you can actually get through health, through nutrition, through proper mindset, through discipline, through practice, the more you can tap into your own intuition, and then you can start making your own truths and realizations and revelations. And what I found is that when people are tapping into their own truth instead of something they read, they're actually creating movement, because it's the actions. It's the actions, it's not the words. What I see a lot of the time in conscious work is that somebody will read a book by Dr. Wayne Dyer, or, Eckhart Tolle, or whoever, and they'll get these little sound bites, and they become very, very good at regurgitating the sound bite, very good at it. But when you actually look at the application of how they're using that in their practical life, there's a disconnect. So a big thing for me is walk the walk, and you only walk the walk when it's yours, when you own it, when you understand it, when you comprehend it, when you live it, when it's in every cell of your being. That's when you're actually walking the walk. Because a lot of people will sit here and talk the talk on consciousness, conscious, 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 I'm conscious, I'm conscious, I'm conscious. But if you look at how they're living their everyday life, they're not being very conscious or intentional about it. So really understanding and truly knowing yourself and following your heart and really connecting with your heart all the time is the best knowledge, because you have all the knowledge that you'll ever need to know. You truly do. And when it comes to intuition and when it comes to consciousness, you know the truth, and it's in your heart. Other than that, the only other two books I'm really passionate about, I love the Bible. The Bible, if you actually look at it, is a brilliant textbook. Brilliant textbook. It's not only a critique on government, but it's also, just the prophecy. And if you ever want to read the best New Age book in the world, read the Bible, because the old age is the new age. I promise you, they're one and the same. So the Bible is my number one. And then The Alchemist. The Alchemist is one of the most beautiful books that you'll ever read. Other than those two, I can't really recommend any books because I haven't read them.
Thank you so much. Seriously, meeting you, for those couple of days in Melbourne, and then hearing you speak, I'm just I'm so glad I invited you onto this channel. I know that so many people are going to benefit from what you've been sharing. So it's been so lovely to talk with you. If you could just share with everybody how they can connect with you online, your website, I can also link below. So yeah, what's the best way people can get in touch, Bella?
Thank you so much, Zach. Thank you so much for having me. Like I said, this is what I love to do. I love to meet people and I love to collaborate, and it's been an honor. The best way to connect with me is through my website, and that's www.genygypsy.com. I check my email every day, or somebody from my team checks my email. I have a personal assistant named Kate. She's badass. She helps me out a lot, especially when my schedule's a little bit cray. Other than that, like, you can find me on Instagram at Bella Laquatra, but I'll warn you, I'm mostly post from my heart, and it's basically my diary. My Instagram is pretty much my diary. So if you want to see what I'm up to, see what I'm doing, definitely go through my website and connect with me. I love to talk to people, and, you know, anything health and wellness related, if I don't have the answer, I'll find somebody who does, because I probably know someone who does.
Fantastic. And lastly, is there anything you want to share? Anything else that I didn't cover? Anything that you feel might be a last piece of advice for anyone out here?
Yes, I truly feel that it's important for anybody who's watching this to know that if you are on a journey towards growing yourself, bettering yourself, expanding, creating the life you want for yourself, if you have a dream, or even like the small glimmer that you have a bright, beautiful future ahead of you, no matter what obstacle comes your way, keep going. It's not a sprint, it's a marathon, and it's slow and steady. Slow and steady. And there are going to be days that are super difficult. There are going to be days where you break down and cry. You know, if becoming successful was easy, everyone would be it. There's a reason why there's only a small percentage of people who are living the life of their dreams, and that's because they're the only ones who had the lady balls or the actual balls to go through and actually put in the hard work, because it's such hard work, and you're gonna cry and you're gonna want to scream. And there's gonna be days where literally like every form of resistance is being thrown at you. But if you have the belief and you have the knowing and you have the understanding that you are supposed to be in a place that is beautiful, that you create for yourself, even if you have that glimmer of hope, keep going towards it. Do not give up on it. Do not give up on your dream. Don't be a wannabe entrepreneur. You know, don't be a part-time entrepreneur. If you want to make your life based on residual income, if you want to create a life for yourself that's by your own design, if you want to become the architect and become a participant in the life that you are actively creating for yourself, the only thing you have to do is not give up. That's it. I mean, there's going to be a lot of work, but like the one main rule, do not give up on yourself. There's always a solution. There is no obstacle that doesn't have a way around it. I promise you. Because there are going to be days where it looks like all roads ahead of you are just down and out for the count. I promise you, become an expert at problem solving. Become an expert at creative solutions. If you become an expert at problem solving and creative solutions, and you never give up, no matter how hard it gets, no matter how painful it is, you will succeed, because nothing can stop you.
I wish I heard this, 3 or 4 years ago when I was starting my journey. So I know that this message is really going to impact a lot of people out there. So thank you so much, Bella, for your time, your energy, your wisdom and everything. Thank you so, so much. And for everybody watching, share this video around, subscribe to the channel, share this around. If you know that this message will help somebody else, please send the link, or send it out on social media. Everybody, thank you so much for watching, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Ciao.
Thanks, everybody.